Okay, this one's going to be very different and short. So Perry Klutz asked me if I'd be a spokesperson, and I'd never been here before, and I thought, am I?
Yeah, a little bit closer to you.
Okay. And I thought it was kind of a team effort. I thought we were going to be like standing together or something. And so I got an email, and it said something about a competition and speaking. That's one thing I don't do. I'm a farmer. Okay, but anyway, I promised him I'd do it. My son said, just tell him he can't do it. I said, I can't do that. I told Perry I'd do it, so here I am. Okay, this is going to be really short and sweet. Thank you, Perry, and the Ohio Forage and Grasslands Council. I am incredibly grateful for the land that I have in my care, and I'm going to say that I couldn't pass up the opportunity to share a little bit about my passion on my farm. This is a very unique story, probably very different. I grew up on a very large dairy farm in Michigan. So my path that I've taken, my little 65 acres wasn't really considered a farm by my family. It sort of is now, a little bit more, but still I'm not, in their mind, maybe not really a farmer, a serious farmer. I've managed, some by chance and some by perseverance, to be able to create on a very small farm a livelihood for myself and two of my sons, adult sons, who are working for me full-time. Family background, as I mentioned, I grew up in 3 generations of family members, farming Michigan dairy farm. Summers, of course, were mostly my time on the baler, loading hay. That was our afternoon job. Morning job was to do all the gardening, cooking meals, not only for their family, but for all the farm hands. At that time, most of you know, dinner's the big meal of the day, and we had a serious dinner every day at about 1 o'clock. Let's see if I can make this work. Okay, this is Jorgensen Farm in Westerville, Ohio. 65 acres, diversified, certified organic since 2002. It has become a wedding and venue site. I have people actually getting married this year from Manhattan all the way to the West Coast. So generally, though, these people are coming to Central Ohio because they have family roots there. The city limits of Columbus are right on the border of the farm, not only the eastern border, but also on the south border. So the yellow highlighted area is what we designate as the front 11 acres of event space. The farm property line kind of goes there, includes the wooded acres, and then goes back up to the street. So this area here was a farm when we bought the 65 acres. This was a neighboring farm that was sold to a developer. There are several thousand units there. The front section is privately owned homes, condominiums, and apartments. This is the home of Discovery Card, a lot of other corporate office buildings down here. My only farm neighbor is this guy right here, 96-year-old Albert Vessner, and his children are wanting to sell that as soon as possible. And then, whoops, sorry. The north of me is going to be a parkland. It's been over 1,000 acres purchased to be part of the Metro Park system. Okay, so a focus of mine throughout the entire time that since 2002, we purchased the farm in 1992, and for the first 10 years, it was just kind of a family homestead. But it's been a large focus over the past over 10 years. Some of the more recent events on the farm was Ohio Lamb Chef Day in 2011, Ohio Forage and Grasslands Council Pastures for Profit Grazing School in 2012, and the Ohio Forage and Grasslands Council Fence Building Workshop in 2013. In 2011, I began something that was kind of a traditional sharing of my traditional farm roots, and that was the monthly Third Sunday Supper series that we designed to share the farm heritage of eating supper family style, using food that primarily that we grew, but also because I've been interacting with a lot of chefs and other farmers in the area. I knew, for instance, somebody who was growing really good sweet potatoes or anything else that I needed, I could easily access it from other farms, sharing that heritage. And I was amazed at the interest in that from the local Columbus community. Has been incredibly successful. The tour groups designed by City of Gahanna Convention and Visitors Bureau, they're publicizing those in some national magazines now and doing all the legwork for me on that. So that's something that we're doing more of. And then Girl Time day outings for women who want to learn more about how to garden or learn more about how to use fresh local ingredients. They might want to have more of an emphasis on, doing some of the herbal facial masks that I have and things like that. But those are some of the things we've done recently. Let's see. In 2002, I expanded the focus of the farm and began the journey to make it sustainable. I'm trying to see if this is, let me see something. Here we are. Not only financially, but environmentally. And that's the year that I began the organic certification process, started a farmer's market in this barn right here that you're seeing, and began hosting chef and farmer events. The focus primarily during that, since then, on beekeeping, organic pastured poultry, lamb, and culinary herbs. The slide that's shown here shows an Ohio State University professor demonstrating to the Ohio chefs the use of the entire land carcass. And there's sponsors were Ohio State, for this program were Ohio State University and several other organizations in the state of Ohio. So in this particular case, I'm showing you what has become a large focus during the spring and summer and fall season. Like I mentioned, we have 11 acres wedding and event venue space, including a flower production field. I have over 45 weddings booked already for 2014. And I will say that the largest draw to this is our current consumer wanting a simple life, and I really do feel like farming, with the number of people close to the Columbus community, it has been a way for them to find the comfort of being back to nature. I see the word simple on so many things right now, packaging and so forth, and magazines and so forth, but I think that it kind of brings that to people. So in 2010, people started asking if they could get married on the farm. This was not a planned business venture for me. I had just done a large sunflower dinner, and some people in New York City, in Manhattan, who had roots in Ohio, emailed and asked if they could get married on the farm. It was exactly what they were looking for, and I said, okay. This also happened to be a time when, after being married for 32 years, I was by myself on the farm and trying to make a decision whether I could make it go financially, with 4 children, all late teen and 20s, and it would have been so much easier and probably smarter for me to just return to my roots in Michigan with all the security of this dairy farm and grain farm and elevator, and my brother needed somebody to take care of the calves. That seemed perfect. If nothing else, I could use my nursing career and go and open up Aunt Belle's nursery and daycare, because all my nieces and nephews are having babies. So anyway, my concern was for my 4 sons, and I decided that it was worth it for me to maintain a homestead for them, because this is where they grew up. We'd been there for nearly 20 years, and I felt like it was something that I really wanted to try to do. So with the wedding venue, they have the family gets to use the 1800s farmhouse as a place to get ready. I kind of make them, they're kind of welcomed into the farm as family for the day. They have the barn, that 1800s barn, and an attached former riding arena. The farm used to, previous owners used it. They had Arabian horses. So we can seat over 250 people in that arena space on a wood floor. So even if the weather isn't good enough to get married out in the flower field, we can have receptions and everything, and the ceremony inside. This 4-acre field right here is just south of the building. It has a half-acre lawn bordered with flower beds in bloom from April to October. My mother used to be able to grow flowers. I never thought I'd be growing flowers for 50 weddings. So this slide, primarily the pasture-raised sheep and beef that we have on the back 25 acres are sold direct sales to farm markets, the Sunday suppers, and to local chefs. All the beef and lamb are 100% grass-fed to save on food and labor costs, and because we've given up the barn now where they used to be winter lambing for event space, they lamb spring through fall. Meat is sold at premium prices at farm markets and local chefs. A local chef actually created a recipe for a lamb sausage that I have made locally and sold pre-cooked and vacuum-packed freezer links. The steaks and roasts are individually vacuum-packed, and many products are value-added. We make pesto from the organic herbs, herbal vinegars, herbal-infused honey, greens and vegetables year-round. 4-H management, changes in fencing initiated on the farm because of the events. We had sheep were grazing in the vegetable portion, and they were getting out on the walkways and flowers and event spaces. Wasn't such a big deal, if they just got out in the orchard during the day, but when you have a wedding that weekend, it's just not a good thing. So also concerns regarding the contamination of the fresh produce with animal waste. I saw a lot of things that are sold and used uncooked, the herbs and fresh vegetables. This picture is our Pastures for Profit Grazing School in 2012. We use overseeding of red and white clover, but the soil is not drained well. We have a heavy clay. We are in the process of getting the rest of the pastures tiled this winter. So alfalfa stands haven't maintained well, but warm season perennials and primarily cool season annuals, rotating them with annual vegetable production. Here's a farm map. Plans for 2014 to eliminate the smooth wire electric fence that was installed in 2003, and to install the fixed knot sheep and goat fence for better security of the sheep. Continue to bale hay on that top left field 13 for winter feed. We had to take the sheep out of our rotational grazing plan in 2013 because the smooth wire fence, we couldn't figure out why we weren't able to hold a charge on it. I bought a couple chargers that should have done a farm 10 times this size, and then we realized that there was some damage due probably to a lightning strike at one point, and so it wasn't transmitting the electrical charge. So I'm going to, over the next year, the fencing post and the gates are still good, to replace all that with woven wire so we have a higher security. And the also have 5 hoop houses for growing food year-round and sell at the winter farmers markets with the grass-fed beef and lamb that were built in late 2011 and early 2012 after I finished a 9-month organic farmer training program at Michigan State University that focused on pastured meat and year-round production in hoop houses. Acknowledgements. Roger High. In 1995, when our oldest son was awarded a starter flock of Romney sheep from the American Sheep Breeders Association, we joined the Ohio Sheep Improvement Association, and Roger has been tremendous help throughout the years. He organized the 2011 Ohio Lamb Chef Day held at the farm, and he's also helped us with AI work at Ohio State that isn't available at this time. But Bob Hendershot, many of you know, Bob gave me not only technical assistance designing an equipped, cost-share, managed intensive grazing system and forage management advice, but he's also organized and helped teach the Pastures for Profit and the fence building workshops. And then Marianne Core, NRCS District Conservationist. We've been and are in many equipped cost-share programs for access roads, water lines, pastures, and hoop houses. This shows kind of a summary of what we're doing here. That cow in the back is grazing just beyond where we're growing food. I do sometimes we always include the farm walk with the Sunday suppers and the other tours, and sometimes I just take them out to this house and tell them this is their first course. They have to harvest it themselves, just like the animals that are out there. So thank you very much for letting me tell my story.
Any questions?
How many animals do you have at any given time?
Okay, am I on? I guess I am. Yeah. At any given time, right now, like I said, we had until we get that sheep fencing back, and normally 30 is a good number for me for adult use. We have had up to 60, and I like to balance the ratio with 1 pastured cow for every 10 sheep. We also use our chickens, laying hens. At this time is what we have. We have about 80 laying hens. I use the nutrients from the hens in order to put on the garlic beds, the blackberries and the strawberries in the fall. Yes? Question is about dogs and with the sheep because we're so close to the city. I have witnessed a dog that did attack 2 of my nursing ewes, and at that time I began trapping not only for dogs but also coyotes. I've taken 3 weeks of trappers training, and I can handle just about any animal that comes along, including deer. I've gotten to be a really good deer hunter. So Mom has to be the one to put the meat in the freezer.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.